Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we're diving headfirst into the chaotic, totally contradictory, and honestly, fascinating world of artificial intelligence in 2026. So, what's the deal? Is this the start of a whole new technological era, or are we just living through one of the biggest speculative bubbles in history? The wild thing is, the answer seems to be yes to both. And look, you don't have to take my word for it. This quote right here from Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. He just nails this paradox we're looking at. He says, yep, investors are overexcited. And then, in the same breath, he says AI is the most important thing to happen in a very, very long time. It's this moment of pure genius, mixed with what really, really looks like collective madness. So how can both of those things possibly be true at the same time, right? How can you have this world-changing tech wrapped up in what looks like a super dangerous speculative frenzy? Well, to really get it, we've got to look at both sides of this paradox. And first up, let's talk about the case for madness. Let's talk about the bubble. Okay, so the first and, let's be honest, the most glaring sign that we're in a bubble, it's the money. You just have to follow the money. What we're seeing is a full-on speculative gold rush. The numbers are getting so big, they almost feel disconnected from, reality. Just look at this number for a second. $202.3 billion. That's how much cash was pumped into AI companies in 2025. Alone, in just 1 year. That's a 75% jump from the year before. I mean, that kind of acceleration, it doesn't just whisper growth, it absolutely screams frenzy. But here's where it gets really wild. It's not just about the total amount of money, it's the concentration of it. As you can see from this chart, that massive number, it accounts for half of all venture capital money invested worldwide last year. Half. Think about that. One single sector is just sucking up half of the entire planet's risk capital. I mean, if that doesn't sound like an echo of the dot-com bubble, I don't know what does. And of course, when you have that kind of fire hose of cash spraying everywhere, what do you get? You get absolutely astronomical valuations. To put this into perspective for you, OpenAI is apparently aiming for a valuation of $830 billion. If, and it's a big if, but if they hit that, it wouldn't just be the most valuable private company ever, it would blow past the peak valuations of some of the biggest corporate titans in history. So here's the catch, and this is a really crucial point. A lot of this growth, it's not exactly organic. It's being juiced by something called circular financing. Here's how it works. A tech giant, say, invests a ton of money into an AI lab. Then that AI lab turns right around and promises to spend billions of dollars on that tech giant's chips or cloud services. See what's happening? It creates this illusion of insane growth, but really, it's just the same pot of money moving around between the same few very deep pockets. Okay, and this is a huge but, this is where things get complicated. Because unlike a lot of past bubbles that were built on, pure hype and speculation, this one is wrapped around something incredibly real. The hype? For sure, it's off the charts. But the revolution? That's just as real. This technology is having a concrete world-changing impact, like right now, as we speak. I mean, just look at Anthropic, one of OpenAI's main competitors. In January 2024, their annualized revenue was $87 million. Fast forward just 22 months to October 2025, and it's $7 billion. That's not a typo. That's an 80 times increase. And this isn't some pie-in-the-sky promise of future profits. No, this is cold, hard cash from real companies paying for a product that is solving their problems today. And this isn't just happening in one little corner of the tech world. This impact is spreading across the whole economy. In healthcare, the first drug discovered completely by AI is now in human trials. How about finance? Well, AI algorithms are now running something like 89% of all global trading. And in manufacturing, just look at this. Actual humanoid robots are being put to work on BMW production lines. This isn't some movie, folks. This is the factory floor in 2026. But this kind of explosive growth, it doesn't happen in a vacuum, right? And right now, it's on a direct collision course with two incredibly powerful forces. One, government regulators, and two, a public that's frankly starting to get a little nervous about all this. Yeah, the regulatory honeymoon, it is officially over. For what feels like forever, AI development has been the Wild West. But 2026, this is the year the sheriffs are coming to town. Governments are finally putting some guardrails on this runaway train. We're seeing major new laws taking effect in both the US and Europe. And they're demanding everything from serious risk assessments to real transparency about how these AI systems are making decisions. And the political pressure to do something is just immense, especially as Deloitte points out in a major US election year. The absolute explosion of AI-generated content, deepfakes, you name it, it's creating a potential crisis. The ability to create misinformation on a massive scale is forcing a conversation about regulation that social media platforms, well, they just can't dodge it anymore. And it's not just the politicians. The public is getting wary too. You've got a solid majority, 64%, who now think AI on social media is dangerous, and more than half think creators who use it aren't being authentic. And you know what? That kind of public feeling is exactly what gives politicians the fuel they need to push for even tougher rules. A big reason for this anxiety is the tech itself. I mean, there are these new techniques, like something called JSON prompting, that basically allow an AI to study a creator's content and then perfectly replicate their unique voice, their style, their whole vibe. It completely blurs the line between being inspired by someone and, well, stealing their identity. And that raises all these thorny new questions about copyright and authenticity that regulators are now having to figure out. And this isn't just talk. We're already seeing it play out. State attorneys general all over the country are opening up investigations into these new battlegrounds. They're looking into AI companion chatbots that are forming relationships with minors. They're looking into how AI is used for huge life decisions, like getting a loan or a house. They're tackling AI-driven bias, and, of course, the big one, training data and copyright. Make no mistake, a whole new wave of enforcement is on its way. So let's pull back for a second. You've got a massive financial bubble, you've got a legitimate technological revolution, and both of them are about to smash into a regulatory crackdown. I mean, it's the definition of a perfect storm. So the question is, when the market finally corrects itself, and it will, who's going to be left standing, and who's going to get totally wiped out? You know, history actually gives us a pretty good roadmap for this stuff. If you look at the dot-com crash or any other big tech shakeout, the survivors usually fit into a few buckets. First, you've got the picks and shovels companies. Think NVIDIA. They're not betting on one specific gold miner. They're selling the tools to all the miners. They win no matter what. Second, you have the true application leaders. Companies like Cursor, the AI coding assistant. They aren't just playing with the tech, they're using it to solve a real specific problem for a real market better than anyone else. And the ones who lose, they're almost always the speculators, the simple wrappers who just put a new interface on somebody else's AI model without adding any real value of their own. So yeah, a financial reckoning feels pretty much inevitable. The bubble part will correct. But here's the thing. The technology itself, it's not going back in the box. The revolution is 100% real. And so, as all that speculative dust begins to settle, the biggest, most important question is still out there. What kind of world will this unbelievably powerful technology actually end up building for all of us?